Hi, my name is Berglind. I'm working at Colibri as a web developer, but I have been working as an Android developer for quite a few years. So I'm not here to talk about my month experience of JavaScript, but I'm going to talk about something, a bit different. I'm going to talk about feelings and emotions and thoughts. So I hope I'll connect with you people on that. So my talk is it's about a thing called the impostor syndrome, or the feeling like a fake. I am actually going to make a connection to JavaScript in the end, just so wait for it. So what is the impostor syndrome? It's a psychological term which was brought up in the 70s, and it refers to when people feel that they are like a fake or a fraud in what they do, and they're like constantly worried about other people, finding them out, realizing that they're not as competent or as skilled as everybody else thinks. And this is like in spite of external signs of success. And those signs are then just dismissed as being luck or a matter of timing or something else than yourself. And this is by no means only for known in the programming world, but it is known there, and it's quite common for programmers and creative people. This is a comic I found by Loa. I don't know if you see it, but it's basically just describing how you always think that everybody else knows what they're doing, when in fact nobody knows what they're doing most of the time. So can I maybe ask, can you raise your hand if you relate to have felt this at some point? That's nice. Yes, thanks for sharing that. And that's actually quite normal. One study showed that 70% of all people feel like an imposter at one point in their life, and another one shows that 2 out of 5 successful people feel like they're frauds at their work. And if you have suffered from this, you may be glad to know it's really common among successful and intelligent people. And you are in a group with celebrities like Tina Fey, Neil Gaiman, Emma Watson, and Bill Murray. So that's not a bad group to be a part of. I just want to tell you briefly about my story with this, because I suffered severely from this for many years. It might have started with just insecurities for me as being a female in computer science and as a programmer, because I'm not the stereotypical programmer. I am female, and I did not spend my teenage years programming or disassembling computers or playing Quake at Stealthy or something like that. And actually, before I started computer science, my only knowledge of programming was just a little bit HTML, and yes, I had taken one course in SQL in college by accident. But I thought it was really interesting, and in the end, I felt programming was really fun. That's why I continued it. Otherwise, I would never have done it. And I remember at my first event at NERD, the Student Society in the University of Iceland, this guy came up to me and asked me, "What computer games do you play?" And I was like, "Oh my God, I don't play any computer games. Can I then never be a programmer?" But then I realized later on that not all programmers do play computer games, and definitely not all of those that play computer games are fit to be programmers. So there you have that. I started to learn Android programming in 2009. It was the first time it was taught in the university, or just here in Iceland. And after I graduated, I started to focus on Android programming. I did an Android app for GoGoYoko and Smáralind. And then in a couple of years, I was approached by Plain Vanilla, and I asked to join them to start their Android version of QuizUp. And at that time, I was one of the most experienced Android programmers in Iceland. This was in 2012. And I mean, it might sound cool, but I felt it was terrifying because I did not feel I was experienced at all. But I took the offer and do not regret that because, it was a, really fun adventure at Play Manila. And as you might know, QuizUp turned out to be a huge success worldwide. And like I kind of thought that like this feeling would wear off, and the imposter syndrome, it's also like really common with students learning, that makes sense. But after being for QuizUp for a couple of years, and after being a big part in developing it and making the decisions, and I had a lot of passion for it, worked a lot, and like I still had this feeling that I really didn't know what I was doing, and kind of was afraid that at some point people around me would just find out, which was And every time when I was like asked to take on new responsibilities and stuff like that I wanted to, I mean I said yes, but back in my mind there was always like, but oh my god, but I don't know how to do this, But then a while ago I just stumbled upon this concept. It was actually through some programming community sites, and just seeing that this is like this is a thing, the imposter syndrome, and it's not just a personality trait of mine or my insecurity, but it's actually a thing, and there are other people that suffer from it. Just that helped me a lot. Just feeling that I was not alone. But there are some other measures that I wanted to share with you, which I think can help people that suffer from it. And like I definitely feel like I don't suffer as much from it, but I mean it pops up every once in a while. But like when it does for me now, I kind of can like step away from it and have some reality check that you don't have to be the best in everything or know what you're doing always. I mean nobody does. So. How to overcome it? First of all, recognize your success. Just if you would write down, the path, what you did to get to the place you are today. When did you say yes when you could have said no? That takes a lot of courage. Write down your projects you've worked on and problems you've solved, new stuff you've learned, and you will find out that you have a big part in your own success. And recognize your strengths and weaknesses. I mean, we all have our different strengths and weaknesses, and we kind of tend to, or at least me, compare myself to the exceptional ones or people that maybe just have different qualities than I have, but it doesn't really help you, to feel bad about that. So, just, find out what your strengths are, and if you can try to improve them, and also like your weaknesses, and if you can, work on them. Like for me, I'm a single mother, and it took me a really long time to accept that, maybe I don't have as much time as people that don't have children to, spend on programming. And so, I'll probably not gain as much deep knowledge or skills as the person that can spend all their time doing it. And I mean, that's fine. And I have, different sets of strengths. And then like weaknesses, for me, I think my biggest weakness is not asking for help quick enough, and just get frustrated and all that, and I've been working on that. So this is really powerful. And then also, like as I said, like, people are different. Some people are introverts, others not, and neither is better than the other. Everything is okay. Just be yourself and improve on what you can. Pair programming. First, when I was asked to do that, I was terrified. When feeling like a fraud, it's hard to, fake it while another person is watching you. But after I tried it, it wasn't as bad as I thought. And And I think it's really good to also just watch another person program and see how they solve problems and, you know, yeah, and how they think. And you'll definitely see that they don't know what they're doing all of the time as well. So that's a really good exercise. And I don't mean like you have to pair program all of the time. I definitely think like there is a time and a place for it, but, you know, definitely try it. It's, yeah. Say what you're thinking. I mean, it can be hard sometimes, but, you know, just try to be honest. And even if you don't know something, or yeah, you have some questions. I mean, it's okay to be wrong. Nobody is right all the time. I mean, you know, presidents are wrong all the time. It's okay for you to be. You know, no question is a stupid question, they say, and I agree. And even if it is a stupid question, it's still better to ask it than not to ask it. I mean, you'll never learn anything if you don't ask. Yeah, feedback. It's very nice to get just, you know, casual feedback on a daily basis, but I also feel, for me, it has been very beneficial to get feedback from a person I worked with in a formal setting. And we did this a couple of times at Play Vanilla, and they have been doing it as well as Colibri. And it doesn't have to be much, just, you know, as I say, yeah, meet with somebody that you have worked with, and you both have prepared talking about maybe your strengths and weaknesses. And yeah, and you'll most definitely like hear that you have some, you know, qualities that you don't see, but other people see. And yeah, so at least worked very well for me. And I would encourage you, if your workplace does not have this, to, you know, try to get it going. You know, even if it's just like on a yearly basis or a 6-month basis or whatever. All right, the JavaScript connection. No. Yeah, as I said, like I recently changed jobs, and yeah, and it took a lot of guts, I feel, to go from a senior Android position to, you know, a junior web programming position, because like that's what I am in JavaScript. And I'm not so sure I would have dared to do it if I still like had suffered severely from the imposter syndrome, because like I knew this meant that I just had to be totally honest about my skills and, you know, not be afraid to ask questions and all that. And I'm very glad I could do that. So yeah, I just really hope that this like relates to anybody here, and I would like really want to hear your thoughts about this now or afterwards, or like if you apply any of these advices, you know, how it goes out for you. My Twitter handle is here, and I also just have berglind@colibri.is. So yeah, just thank you for listening. Yes. Are there any thoughts or questions? I understand if you suffer from the imposter syndrome, you might not dare to ask. But yeah.
Did you look for help to get through this, or did you just manage to come on your own and just overcome it?
Yeah, the question was, did I manage to myself get over this, or did I get some help? Well, in a way, I got help. You know, I went to a psychologist for a while, and I guess he helped me as well. It's building up my competence and stuff like that. And just then, always just talking about it, and you know, realizing like this, pin down like what the problem was, I guess. And yeah, step away from it. You know, just seeing that the problem is not you; it's, you know, your mind playing tricks on you. So yeah, I hope that answers your question. Something more? Yeah.
Do you know anyone who didn't feel like an imposter? Because all the way through the talk, I'm sitting there going like, yeah.
So the question is, do I know anybody who has not felt like an imposter? Most people I've talked about relate to this. I think like it's different, you know, how severe it is. I mean, I think most people, you know, experience this at one point, but maybe like, you know, for a shorter time or something like that. And when I was reading up on this, it actually has also the andstæða, you know, the opposite, which I don't remember what it's called. So there's also, yeah, the Dunning-Kruger effect. So that's like people that think like they, I guess, know it all and stuff like that, but when they really don't. So I mean, those people don't suffer from this.
If it's any consolation to anyone who feels like an imposter, the more you know, the less you think you know.
Yeah, that's a really good point. The more you know, the less you think you know, definitely. Thanks for that input.